Hello friends, welcome to Investing Right. I am Tenny. Index funds are good. Index funds are passive funds, just follows the index, like the Nifty, Bank Nifty, all those things. Personally, I am looking at the ETFs. ETFs are also another way of looking at the index. Okay, you have the index funds where whether buying a mutual fund or buying a share, which one you are comfortable with. If you think that buying a mutual fund is easy for me, just going to that website and just buying means, then you can use index fund. Whereas if you think that it means ETF is better. So there's an equivalent ETFs for, so I prefer ETFs. Normal mutual funds are actively managed. These are passively managed. Passively managed means there is no one. Only the machine just calculates what is the Nifty. If the index is Nifty, what is there in Nifty, that only it will buy and keep. Okay. For the 50 stocks, a fund manager decides like 5 of them requires much more focus. 5 of them can be discarded. That knowledge is getting applied. I always feel that will really help in that fund's NAV to go. The other one is also good because out of a blue moon, any stock can start performing, like Tata Steel and Vedanta, for instance. This index itself is made out of very smart companies. Whenever a company is not performing, they will be checked out and new companies enter the index. So it is the reflection of the index. So that way, both are good. The cost of having a passive funds like index funds are very less. The other one is a little bit high, but these days, more or less the cost is same.
Hi, Tenny. I have one doubt related to say long-term goals, like 10 years plus, right? So I've seen
Yes.
mutual fund distributors recommending to go for small cap stocks, small cap
Yes.
mutual funds.
Yes.
But considering like small cap will go 4-5 years of underperformance, like
the Nifty stocks are the best ones, right? And if you go down in that index, if you go to the mid caps, the risks are a little bit higher than that of the large cap stocks. And if you go further down, it is further that the risk is more, but conditions are favorable for them. They can give, their business can grow 100% in that year, right? That you would have observed, a small company can grow 100%, whereas a Reliance Industries or an L&T cannot grow to that extent. But they will have the business stability. But the growth rate will be much high in the smaller companies, especially in this one. So if you are thinking that okay, I will grow, I would suggest at the same time, if you are just betting just on small caps, that also may be a bad idea. And if you the situation well, I would suggest you put it in an equal weightage for all the 3 sectors. In the next few years, I personally believe small caps and mid caps can outperform in the next 5 years itself. That last 2-3 years have been very bad for small cap and mid cap. And then came COVID, everything went down 50%. Then of course, everything improved along with large caps. But then there is a lot of catch up to be done. But then of course, look at the valuations. Don't look at a sector as such. If you still feel that valuation is low, it is so the PE is only 5-7 and there is a growth potential over there, you can look into that.
So if I have some expense coming up in the next 2 or 3 years, right? I mean,
Yes.
not more than that. Is it advisable to pick up the stuff from equity and move it to debt and kind of safeguard, or is it okay to sustain?
Yeah, I got it. Yes. So see, our aim should be to create a corpus. So we are creating a corpus by investing in equity mainly. So as the time of retirement comes, so in this case, instead of retirement, you have some financial goals coming up in the next 5 years means.
Right.
As you come nearer to the 3-4 years beforehand, you need to convert fully into debt funds. That particular amount, let's say you require 5 lakhs after 4 years from now, 5 lakh has to be moved to debt funds. So somebody asked how the SIP return is calculated. So SIP return is calculated same way as a lump sum interest calculation. You all know like how it happens. Like 1 lakh is invested after 12 months. Let's say it has become 1,12,000 means 12%. Similarly, for an SIP, if somebody is putting an SIP of 1,000 each every month, and at the end of 12th month, somebody wants to calculate the calculator to calculate what is the return, then you assume it as different lump sum calculations. The first month in January, you put 1,000 rupee as a lump sum. At the end of the year, you got that particular, for that particular 1,000 rupee became 1,024 means what is the return? You can calculate, right? This much percentage. Then next month you put 1,000 rupees for 11 months. What is the return? So you get this one. So average of that is the IP return.
Tenny, Vinay here. I have a question. So, is it a good option to start off with a debt fund with your lump sum amount and then opt for an STP?
I haven't looked into the debt funds, right? That's what you asked. Debt funds, I haven't looked at very closely. I don't know what is traction in debt fund unless you have 3 crores for investing and you want to invest for 3 years so that you will get the indexation benefit of tax and you are not eyeing more than 6-7%. You should never look at debt funds. This is what you will get, and then you might. So 8-9% is maximum you will get. Instead, why don't you take a little bit more risk and then invest in ITC even at this level? So why don't somebody invest in a good stock where you find value and then do an SIP from that if you still want to do that. This one. So, but then there is no guarantee that it will work immediately. Next 6 months or 1 year, it may not perform.
Is it recommended to keep our extra money in debt fund as an emergency fund?
If you are an equity investor, if you have investments in stocks and mutual funds, you don't require a emergency fund. I don't know what is the meaning of an emergency fund. All are talking on this. If you have a credit card with you, if you have a debit card with you, if you have 300 rupee balance in your savings bank account, why you need an emergency fund? You don't require the fund, right? For everything, you can use your credit card. Only if your son is kidnapped and they ask for ransom money, that is the only time you need cash and emergency fund. For everything else, credit card is there. So emergency funds are not required. Why you need to keep in debt fund? What is that kind of emergency which can't be met with a credit card, debit card? I don't know. Even if it's a hospitalization or anything for that matter, everything, it's all digital. So there is the concept of emergency fund has gone. If you have, let's say 1,000 ITC shares, again, I'm just quoting just an example. Requirement has come and you have used your debit card money, so you need money. So you can sell these ITC shares. In 2 days, the money credited to your account, right?
See, the emergency fund may be applicable for people who are spending, like the new generation or newly started working people are spending all their money. So for them, it makes sense, like instead of spending all their money, keep some money as emergency fund. But if you have sizable investments as stocks or mutual funds or equity investments are there, don't really need to bother about that emergency fund. Your credit card will do that.
Or high NAV or CRISIL ranking considered a criteria for best mutual fund. Yes, CRISIL rating has to be considered. A CRISIL rating is a very good yardstick to find out whether that fund is good, because that we generally look at only at the last year's performance. But CRISIL rating looks much more than that. It's we are in a falling or rising market. It's consistency in performance. All those things are taken into the NAV of a fund has absolutely no relationship determining how a fund is successful or not. So don't look at the NAV of, you should never look at the NAV of a fund. So NAV doesn't have any significance. So for that matter, don't apply for the IPOs of a mutual fund. Why? Because you are just going to give your money, whether the NAV is 10 or NAV is 10,000. It is same only. It might be having Reliance at 2,000 rupees. The 10 rupees fund also is having at 1,000 rupees. The other is also having that. And if Reliance doubles, the 10 rupee will become 20 rupee. The 10,000 rupee NAV will become 20,000. So there's absolutely no difference. This fund first. And the other investments like ULIPs, LICs and other insurance policies, which not for your life insurance, but for the sake of getting ATC, it is time for you to review all those things. See what is the return you are going to get. See what is the loss you might be making now, and you'll be better off if you keep it for next 20 years. Think that way and just stop those units if it is not viable. And you continue with the ATC things through ELSS only. Even if your PFs and everything is done, I would suggest everyone in the age group of 20 to 30 range to put 1.5 lakhs in ELSS without fail. 1.5 lakhs, let it go to ELSS and then see the magic in the 45 years of your work life.
As you mentioned that we should consider the CRISIL rating sectoral fund, okay, rated with 2.5 or 3.
See, though these are the good criteria we should be looking at, all these criteria may not be met by all the funds. There can be some, for example, for the thematic funds and all, for comparison and for certain criteria of the CRISIL things, it may not be matching. So we can just set aside that. But then, of course, listen, for thematic funds, lower stars, maybe that they are more risky. So you should keep that in mind. So at least once you see the star rating, you should know that, okay, there is something problem. If it is thematic fund, the more the risk. And the more the risk, the more the return also.
For ELSS, lump sum will be preferable or SIP will be good.
So it all depends. Like if you have the fund with you, and depending on the time, if you have the fund with you, and if you're asking me now, I would suggest okay, put everything in next 1 month only. It all depends on the timing of the market, whether it's going down something. And somebody has asked which is the best funds for ELSS. For ELSS, I have given the view on Axis Long-Term Equity Fund and Mirai Asset Tax Saver Fund. So both are good. Axis is better, though the return for last 1 year may not be that good. That is better. And when I talked about the Mirai assets only, you look at the direct and regular fund of Mirai Asset Tax Saver, the expense ratio. The expense ratio is 7 times more in the case of a regular fund. For the same fund, 0.29 and 2%. So this is one big thing. If you understand this, if you digest these learnings, what we have done word by word, if you take it, I'm sure you have already done your, well, this one. Now bringing the capital, investing and all, that's a different thing. Now, if you understood these things, you are half done. Yeah, expense ratio will be taken care of. Most of the mutual funds are having an exit load. If you come out of that within 1 year, there'll be 1%, and certain funds 2%, and all is charged as exit loads. That is not considered, but your expense ratio will be considered, because after taking care of the expense ratio, only a NAV is declared. How is the NAV taken? NAV is not one way. 2% is the NAV, means only one particular day they will come and take 2%. No, divide it by 365 and takes on a daily basis, depending on what is the NAV of that day. So that means that in NAV, the expense ratio is already incorporated, and based on NAV only, they will assess the return of the fund. So it is taken care. So what should be the ideal portfolio based on the different risk categories? If you are young, you can have investment more or at least equal in 33% each in all these three: large, mid, and small. But if you are in your 40s, if you are nearing your retirement, then more weightage should be given to large cap. 60-70% has to be in large cap. 30 only should be this one. But if you want to take risk, you can just move more, tilt more towards small and mid cap.
Actually, in India, most of the people are investing in their 40s.
Investing in their?
In their
40s.
40.
Okay. So maybe that is because our parents were not, mutual fund was not popular at that point of time, but now it is popular. So make sure that your son or daughter starts investing at the age of 12, like Warren Buffett. Good. So I hope you like this session. So the intention was to get you try to understand everything on the mutual fund. That doesn't mean that we are not going to write an AMFI exam. This is for your investment, whatever is required. What is the cutoff time? What is the significance of having before that? How much should be invested? Will it really work? All those things you need to clarify yourself. You ask the questions and clarify all those things. Because without that conviction, you might invest today. Maybe after 2 years, sometime you will come out of all those things. So it shouldn't happen. For that, you should have the conviction. That is why I just thought of taking it in and out, and I am focusing more on mutual funds. Though people are telling, hey, you are into wealth management, why are you into mutual funds? Mutual fund is against your thing. No, but then I am concentrating and focusing at what is good for the investors. So that way I am completely convinced that this is the way it should be here. This is where you should be focusing more.
Investing Right. We help you to organize your investments to save for your retirement life and other major goals. In and out of mutual funds is explained. The taxes associated with them, the importance of taking the fund in the name of your minor child in order to reduce the tax burden, how to invest for your child's education, marriage, how to invest in global companies like Facebook, Google, sitting in India with an ordinary share trading account, how to evaluate a fund, what are the funds selected with such evaluation criteria. We also give an analysis of other products like exchange traded funds, real estate investment trust funds, non-convertible debentures, and stock analysis, especially of holding companies, which holds deep value. No, We don't just cover the definitions, but the in-depth analysis is given, allowing you to take the decisions depending on your risk profile. Share this video with your friends if you find it interesting. Subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon. Come, invest right for a better tomorrow.